This is Dustin Rhinestone, driver of the number 11, and you're listening to the Cool Down Lap.
Is that all you got, man? You're Dustin Rhinestone.
All right.
One more time. Say it like you mean it.
This is Dustin Rhinestone, driver of the number 11, and you're listening to the Cool Down Lap.
Thanks for that intro, Dustin. Welcome, everybody, to the Cool Down Lap this Monday evening, the 16th of December. You guys are joining us here on our inaugural YouTube voyage, I guess you can say, for the podcast. So we've had a couple races here over the last couple days, so this is our first podcast here officially on YouTube. So welcome in any of our new watchers, for all of our league members. Welcome back. So we're here tonight with a special episode. I'm joined here, as always, with James Johnson, the voice of Midwest Motorsports, Justin Thaler, driver of the two Porsche car in the Road Series. I guess I can't say that just yet because the season just ended. And the two truck and two cup car in the Oval Series. And we're going to have a couple special guests with us here tonight. I'm going to introduce them, but we're going to bring them on here in a few minutes to let them talk after introductions here. But we're joined with Adam Sondag, one of the broadcast members. He's the guy that usually runs the cameras, and we'll throw in some color commentary here and there. And we got the championship winners from the Road Series. You got Chase Fincher and Ronald Cabiltes. I'm sure he'll correct me on that when it comes on, but so we got a packed slate for you guys here. We're going to talk about recapping the Road Series with the champions, and also recapping the eventful weekend for the Trucks and Cup. And if you guys have not watched the streams for the Truck and Cup Series, I highly recommend you do, because they were nail biters, all the way down to basically the final couple laps in both. So welcome, guys. James, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm excited for tonight, and I'm doing great. Ant, thanks for having us.
Oh, always a pleasure. Justin, how are you, man?
Doing well. Glad to finally wrap up that road season and get the chance in here to kind of get the perspective of the season from their eyes. So pretty excited for this.
For sure. So without further ado tonight, guys, we're going to go ahead and just hop into the recap with the champions and Adam here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these guys in so they can kind of tell us about their championship runs. And Adam, you can kind of join in and ask questions with James here. But Chase, Ronald, welcome, guys. Chase, how you doing, man?
Good, brother. How are you?
Great. Fantastic, man. Ronald, man, did I screw your name up that bad?
No, you didn't. That was pretty good. Usually someone adds like an extra I or an extra T in there somewhere. You did good.
Fantastic. How you doing, man?
Doing well.
Awesome. All right, guys. So you guys are here on the championship episode of the Road Series recap. Champions as it may be. Chase, how did your season go for you, man? You had some amazing speed that you were putting out at some of these places, and you basically ran away at the race more often than not. But how do you feel like your season went as a whole, man?
Well, I mean, obviously as a whole, it went pretty good. Really, the only times I was having issue was during the rain races, trying to strategize what tires to use, when to go on them. I know Watkins, I had a spin and got damage on the rear end, which lost me 2 seconds a lap. Then I got a black flag for speeding in the pits. So that was a fun one. And then, let's see. At Montreal, I stayed on the same set of wets the entire race, hoping the rain would come back sooner than it did. Let's see, Sebring, that was completely my fault. Panorama was just bad timing. Other than that, the rest of the races went smooth. Maybe a little bit of mishaps here with lap traffic, but really fun. I got to battle a lot. It was Barber, Long Beach, Road America, and Road Atlanta were my 4 favorite races we did this season, the entire time I was battling someone. It was insane, especially Long Beach, because that was an endurance race, and everybody knows Johan's no slouch. The dude's fast, and trying to pass him and just trying to stay with him was a feat unto itself. Just I gave myself a pat on the back for that one, because I know Johan's he brings the speed for sure.
For sure, Johan is a fast man. I wish he could join in more races and participate more in our series. Hopefully, with the incorporation of the GT3 next season, he can come back a little bit more. But Ronald, how'd the season feel to you, man? Obviously, a success with the championship, but do you feel like your season overall was a success? Were you lacking in some of those rain races or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I think overall, for sure, it was unexpected for me. I wasn't expecting to get the AM championship. I was just like Chase. Those rain races were tough. It's my first time, doing the rain races and iRacing, so it was definitely challenging. Yeah, Watkins, or I think the first rain race was Circuit de Navarra. That was just trying to feel out the track and the wet. And I think everyone was having a tough time there. And Watkins also, there was a point where I think there was one where I overshot and I almost rammed into Francis into the chicane, and that gave me a heart attack. And then right after, with all the adrenaline, I just went around and spun it again, like two corners later. So it was tough, but yeah, the other rain races was Spa, definitely also super tough. There's a point where I think I thought I had grips. I had like the handle of the rain, and then I just spun at LaRouge and Radion, and that was a heartbreaker. But overall, it was fun racing against everyone. There's like a lot of fast AM drivers for sure. I had a lot of battles with Nicholas, both Nicholases, Aslan and Calogaro. And like I think Pablo entered like halfway through the season. He's actually pretty fast, and I had a few battles with him, and that was pretty fun too.
Awesome. James, what do you got? I'll open the floor to you, man.
Oh man, well, first of all, it was an awesome season to call. It feels like I was riding in the car with both of you guys during the broadcasts, and I could see that you spent a lot of time preparing for the races, and I'm glad it paid off for you. I really don't even know where to start, man, other than to say there were so many moments that stick out. One that to me that sticks out was Bathurst for both of you guys, coming down to the last corner for you, Ron. It may be one that you forgot or wanted to forget, but that was just really intense the whole entire race. And I think you guys handled it well. We're getting a lot of comments on the YouTube, and everybody wants to know your secrets. Everybody says Chase Finger needs a weight penalty next season or a 3-lap advantage. And see, Walker says that he wants to know all your grip hacks.
That's right. Grip hacks, baby.
I don't know why that wouldn't work in the rain races, though, which you didn't do.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I need to check it. But no, you have a lot of good, close followers and that are happy for your accomplishment, and you deserve it. I'm going to play Christopher Hopper's voicemail that he left for me, if that's all right.
Man, a huge shout out to Chase the Finger Fincher. I mean, how do you not love the guy and his nickname? He drove so consistently, so quick. I mean, just it's the stuff that makes me have wet dreams at night, if I'm being honest. And I'm jealous. I want to be him. I want him. God, and I'm happily married to a woman. How does that work?
First dibs, Hopper.
Are we past the 2-minute mark with our YouTube video now?
Yeah, we're 10 minutes in. We're good.
All good. Just being able to put up or competing in or participating in the day before the races, practice sessions. Jesse Coffey credits a lot of what he learned from you during those practice sessions, providing some support and forcing me to get outside my comfort zone with the Porsche. Was Jesse Coffey. So I thought it was pretty cool. And what's it like? Not what's it like, but it's got to be a compliment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It absolutely is. Just to know I've made an impact in anybody's, speed or I don't know. It's an honor to hear those things say about you, to be honest. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Adam was in the booth with me too. I don't know if Adam has any comments or questions for our champs.
Yeah, I mean, I think this season, the thing that really changed the most, I mean, we had endurance races, we had rain races. I think the variety of what our drivers were seeing week in and week out, the conversations back and forth about, the practice session, like, how's the rain set up? What's the weather in the practice session? So we're all these new factors here. And I think it really played a cool factor, in the way that we saw some of these races play out, especially rain races, Spa, some people ran into trouble. Hopper took a podium. We saw Jason Phillips sideways, getting doored, all sorts of things. How did, for each of you drivers, or either of you that wants to take the floor here, how did the season with these new factors, with the endurance, with the rain, play a part in not only how you prepared, but how you enjoyed racing this season?
Ron, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think it definitely forced me to prepare more, and then learn actually how to drive in the wet, right? Using different lines to get grip and trying to figure out where the most grip is on the track, and then how it varies as the time goes on in the race. So, and dialing in the brake bias and all that. So it definitely helped me, make my preparations more, more impactful. And then, yeah, and racing in the rain with everyone is super enjoyable. It kind of evens out the playing field, right?
Mhm.
And it just race, like, I think the one that sticks into my mind was when me, Jesse, and Kevin were just side by side, or three wide,
Yeah.
out of the straight at Spa, and that was just, my butt was clenching, and I was just like, who's gonna break? Who's gonna break first?
Has your computer handled turning graphics up so you can see all of where the water is puddling and where things are setting up like that? Has it been okay, or have you had issues with it?
No, yeah, I definitely are at the point where I can see where the puddles are and try to avoid them, and have still decent frame rate. I think about 70, 80. So it's still a good mix to be able to see the clarity of where the puddles are and where the lines are, and with the smoothness of the frame rates.
Awesome. Chase, how about you?
Really, it was just getting familiar with the 570. I drove it, but not on a very consistent basis. So as you're doing every track has different types of corners, different radiuses, elevation. So as you progress through the season, the more tracks you see as you get further on in the season, you'll see similarities from previous tracks you raced to. So your pace and your speed, you gain it quicker on a track where you have a little bit of, I guess, something to go off that you've raced in the past. So for me, it was figuring out the brake bias. I hadn't dialed that in of how it was supposed to be on the McLaren. Barcelona, I had the bias way too far forward, so I could not get the car to rotate. So the next race, I dialed it back. I think the next race was Barber's. I dialed it back to the negative, and just the car was rotating. And so as the season went on, I just kind of played. My process with practice is, my first session, I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to push. I'm going to test the off tracks, I'm going to test how fast I can go. I'm just going to get out there and see what kind of speed I can do. Session 2, I'm going to do that, but try to get less 1Xs. Session 3 is usually to try and find the race pace.
Mhm.
And then my last session will be at least a half race stint, trying to get 0Xs and get my lap times consistent within a few tenths. And for me, that's where the consistency comes, because I know where I can push, where I need to be a little bit more lenient to not get an off track, because that my main goal this season was bonus points.
Mhm.
I think if you look at last season, if you would have finished, because I think last season bonus points were 100 points per race. And I think if you would have finished third or fourth every single race and got half of the races clean, you would have won the championship overall. So consistency, consistency is key.
I think you're looking here, you're at least 550 bonus points ahead of Michael Odell,
Mm.
who had 400, and the closest is Justin at 375. So keeping it clean definitely is impactful for your score,
Mhm.
for your points.
Yeah, and like I said, it trying to find your race pace is key. We can all put a fast lap together, but being able to do a consistent fast lap is really difficult at times. And it's just I put a lot of effort into it. Whenever I do something competitive, I might tend to go a little overboard. So I think that I hope that shows. But I mean, overall, it was a great season. Odell was hounding me all season. I mean, that dude can drive. It's got me even more amped for next season. I hope I can make every race. I'm still planning on doing so. It's just there may be some times I don't get to, but at that point, I just want to race with these guys. I love being here. The group of guys that this league has attracted, it's amazing. They're all great.
So Oh, sorry, Justin. Well, I just wanted to compliment Chase here on one race. Alton Park. I
Right.
was amazed that you were as fast as you were and still came out of that with a 0x. That was an eyebrow raiser for me, man, because I was like, this dude, like, he's blistering around this track and he hasn't got one off track, and that was one of the tougher tracks I felt to keep the car on.
Yeah, I think if it would have
You had a lot of pressure that race too. They were on you the whole race.
Yeah, I think if that race would have happened earlier in the season, we probably wouldn't have seen that, because I wasn't as competent with the McLaren just yet. So it being later in the season definitely helped. And my goal, I had set a goal, because I knew it was a tough track. I had set a goal, 0x. And the track just clicked. I think it was the day before I did a session, and it just clicked. The track felt so good. I was just very consistent. So I knew come race day, if I could get out to a good enough lead to where I could just pace second place, not get any pressure, I would be fine. And it was probably, as far as performance wise, probably my best performance of the season, but not my favorite race. Road America. The four-way battle we had going on was just so much fun.
Yeah, for sure. Justin, go ahead, bud.
So with all the talk about helping everybody in the league and things like that, that's kind of what our philosophy here is. It's no surprise we want people to, I guess, consistently participate in the races.
Mhm.
I mean, that doesn't mean you make every single one of them, and we get that. But we want a league, of drivers for drivers. And you joined very late last season, and you were fast in the McLaren. And then I think I guess, you being comfortable with the McLaren just got, better and better, especially this season, as you've been kind of talking how your season went. But with that being said, you really kind of maintained a healthy lead. Odell was kind of always nipping at your heels. Some people might find, I guess, with the kind of dominating performances that you've had, I mean, it was almost yours to lose. But some people might say, well, that's boring. I don't want to just be the guy out there leading and basically hot lapping, not really racing. But um, going into the GT3 class, not been driving it, in a league series for, you know, 20 weeks now or whatever, 16 weeks. Um, are you going to be as confident? Or do you think there's going to be a lot more, I guess, to learn with a new car, some more downforce, higher speeds? And there are some guys in here in the pro class that have a wealth of experience in the GT3. So I guess where do you lay, with your experience with the GT3 car? Have you driven it much, or you kind of dabble in it?
I dabbled. I think I only ever did a handful of races in officials, and that was before the upgraded computer and VR and all that. Ever since I got the upgraded stuff, uh, I've only ever done some GT4 races. So for me, it's probably been half a year since I got in a GT3 car. I've been testing the past couple of weeks, and I'm getting more comfortable. It's going to be the same instance. Like I think from last season coming to the league, coming from driving GT4s predominantly, I think that's where the speed was initially. But here, a lot of these guys are doing GT3 races every single week and have been for some time. So the competency they have in the car is there. It's just going to be in the off season trying to. I think I've dialed down the car that I need and that I want. It's just going to a bunch of different tracks and just driving the car, experiencing all different types of corners, different tracks, different layouts, and just learning the car. And I think if I can do that, I'll be ready to be competitive next season. Hopefully, have good pace to be up front. But I know a lot of these guys are really fast in the GT3s.
And Ron, you kind of really hit the nail on the head with your philosophy of basically ensuring you're maximizing your points, getting those 0x bonuses and so forth like that. Are you going to stick with the McLaren for next season now that you've got a full season under your belt with it? Or are you thinking about changing? I guess, what are you looking forward to, in next season and trying to defend the title?
Yeah, I think for the McLaren, I think I'm more comfortable with the McLaren. I've tried the Mercedes GT4, and I think that's the only other GT4 I have. But yeah, I think the McLaren is where I'm more comfortable with. I've had the full season already. I also race it in officials, so I think have a good handle of how it handles. So I think I'll just stay with the McLaren.
Right on, right on. What are some things you liked about this season, either schedule or from last season we tweaked some of the points and obviously implemented weather and like some night races and things. So like, what were some things you maybe liked, or what are some things you maybe didn't like?
I definitely I think the participation in this league is great. I think on average there's about 20 to 30 drivers, so there's always competition, and there's always a fight to go around in the league. And the weather system, I think it's I think well, if I recall, the very first race of the season was a circuit de Navarra, and I think everyone was expecting it to be a dry race or I think it was Watkins or either or, right? And then it turned out to be rain. So I think it was that that unexpected like change in weather, I think, is what made the races more exciting. And I love it. Like the Tempest system, and what can the weather be? You can prepare all you want and dry and wet, but when race day comes, it could be something else, and that'll be the great equalizer, right? If it's rain. So I did definitely enjoy like the rain this season.
I
Yeah,
want
for
to
sure.
piggyback off of that. Sorry, Justin, I'll let you go ahead if you have another follow up too.
No, I think for sure I think he's right. We started in Navarro and it rained, and then I think week 2 Watkins,
It was.
and then it rained. So it was like I think everybody was like, "Is this really what this every week is going to be like? This is going to be? Can we ever just have a normal dry race?" But yeah, the Tempest system really, really. I mean, we had a couple in there that were like guaranteed, so like they were timeline edited, but um, for the most part, most of those races were just whatever iRacing decided to do to us that day. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, I mean, it happens too in real life, right? Like you can look at the forecast, but 50% chance of rain either means there's a 50% chance it does, and there's also a 50% chance it doesn't. So trying to prepare and understand and get a feel, I guess, for the track and the intricacies of where water might lie or where the line is for each track once it gets wet. I think everybody kind of gets a grip on what line they need to take.
Yeah, I was just going to say the unpredictability is what I heard Ron say about the weather. It worked out in our schedule, and I think that says a lot about the experienced drivers being able to adapt to a new situation that comes without knowing about it ahead of time. And so the more experienced guys may have been able to adapt faster, and so much of a learning experience for everybody else. But one of those rain races that you mentioned was Spa, and Jesse Coffey mentioned that one of his favorite highlights of the season was going 3 wide in Eau Rouge with you and Kevin at Spa. Ronald, do you remember that?
Yeah, that's like ingrained in my memory. That's like my highlight also of the season.
Yeah, he said he had a blast racing this season. And Hopper also chimed in about you. So we'll play that for you now.
And it goes a little something like this.
Oh, is it not playing?
Nope, sir.
Oh, man. Hang on one more second. I will get there. Where's it at? No, I just had it. I had that channel on mute, but I can get my mixer. Thanks for chiming in. Sorry, this might be a little farther behind, but we'll catch up right now.
Chase, congratulations. You're the man. And Ron, you show up. You put in good laps. You're consistent. You deserve this AM championship. I'm pretty jealous. I'm coming for you, bro. I'm coming for you in 2025. Watch your rear view. Congratulations, guys. Great job, as always.
Tell you what, Mr. Spa there, he's coming for the crown.
He is.
Hopper's the man.
What a guy. What doesn't he do?
Right?
A little bit of but go ahead, Justin.
You look at a guy. I mean, if every race was wet, I mean, it could have been his. Right? He excels in the rain. I mean, he won the AM in Montreal, and then comes back and gets an overall podium. So maybe, I don't know. Depends.
So real quick here, I got some questions coming out of the YouTube chat. So, Chase, this first one's for you. It's from Mr. Damage, who I believe is Walker McNulty. Now that the pro drivers are moving to GT3 cars, how much do you think it will shake up the field order?
I think a lot. I think it will shake it up a lot. I was in Travis held a practice session at VIR the other day, and I was pretty impressed by Gluckner's speed. So yeah, I'm pretty anxious to see. I know Jack Lucas is a force to be reckoned with in the GT3 cars. So keep an eye out for him. Him joining this league was the first time he's ever driven a GT4 car. So that was impressive to see him P3 at Road Atlanta on a car he's barely driven. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting.
Nice. All right, Ron, we're going to start with you on this one. Then Chase, you can follow up after him. So the question, what kind of practice did you do to be consistently quick? So Ron, let's start with you.
Yeah, so my practice regimen is not as strict as what Chase mentioned. So my first practice is usually on the weekend. I'll do an hour practice session and I'll try to learn the track if I don't know it yet. And then I'll go probably about 60-70% speed, try to learn the corners, try to learn the braking points. Once I get comfortable with that, then I'll push a little bit harder and make sure that I see my lap times go down, and then when I hit like a roadblock or a wall, I'll go into Garage 61. I'll open that up, and then I will I'll look up Chase Fincher, and then I will take his lap times, analyze that, and I'll see where he's braking, where he's getting speed and stuff, and then and I'll go back into practice, and then I'll try to get consistency, and just kind of just compare myself against Chase.
Now, when you do your hour-long practice sessions, are you normally in it with other league members, or do you just go into test drive and go?
For the weekends, if I'm my schedule's on the line, I'll do some test drives by myself, but then I'll try to also join Cody's practices on Mondays. So I'll usually try to make those and get some practice in with the other guys in the session.
Fantastic.
long-
Jake? Oh, sorry.
How,
Go
lo-
ahead, Justin.
how long have you either been on iRacing or sim racing in general, Ronald?
So I started my sim racing or my iRacing account around like last year in November, and then I had just just like G29 and I had a desk, and then I kind of went away for a bit, and then I came back in the summer, kind of just dedicated to. I told myself, yeah, I'll get a new hobby, and so I got like a small like a portable next level racing rig, right, and got a new direct drive wheel, some new pedals also, with uh, I think the Fanatic C Elite pedals, so I can get a little bit more consistency with the braking, and then yeah, just from June or from the summer onwards, and that's when I joined Midwest Motorsports. That's essentially that's my journey. So it's been pretty recent. I haven't had much seat time. Just probably like less than a year, maybe a year.
Right on. What about
Jason?
you, Finger?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll start off with my sim racing career. Been doing sim racing since Gran Turismo 3. Technically 2 at the tail end, but 3 was the real one that grabbed my interest. I did GT Academy in 2011 and 2012. That was the first wheel I got. I got a G25 just to do GT Academy. I think I made it to the top 32 in the Southeast. And then the wheel broke, didn't touch it again. I played Horizon on the Xbox with the controller. And then my buddy gifted me a computer if I would buy a rig to do iRacing. He said, once you do iRacing, you'll never do anything else. And so I think I got iRacing at the beginning of 2018 or 19. Most of my stints have been like a couple months and then long breaks between either having a child, moving, work, having another child. So really, ever since I got the computer and really got back into it, this is the longest continuous stint I've had in the sim. But if we're going to talk about, the initial question was about practice. If it's kind of like Ron, if it's a track I don't know, I'll spend time to learn it. But I go to Coach Dave or Unknown Driver to see if they have a similar combination to at least put me on a further stepping stone when I initially get on track. So I'll kind of know where the braking points are, where to trail brake, where to throttle out, and then I'll work from there on my own driving style to pick up pace. But I think there were 6 tracks this year that I had to buy or have never driven. So that was where I spent a lot of the time, was just trying to figure out those tracks. And with the Tempest weather, you never know what you're going to get. Are you going to get a morning session where you're going to have good pace? You're going to get something in the afternoon where the track's 130 degrees. So
Yeah, the good thing when it comes to the tracks is, a lot of them aren't always, back-to-back seasons, but they're always kind of re-intertwined throughout the multiple seasons. So, I personally find once you kind of know a track, it's just trying to adapt that car, to the track. I think it helps for sure. I guess speed up your knowledge if it's a familiar track, but a new car.
yeah. And Anthony, I do have a question for you.
Go on.
Have we met before at Rainbow Spa in Michigan?
No.
I heard
Rainbow
you.
Spa.
I heard you frequent that place.
Oh, I'll have to Google it and see what it is.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
No, the last time I was in Michigan, I almost blew my hand off. JT was with me for that one, and it was not at a Rainbow Spa.
Okay.
You don't know,
Okay.
you don't remember the Rainbow Spa?
No.
Oh, I gotta message it to you right now.
I can only imagine with you. No. Are you from the Michigan area?
No. That was a joke for Justin.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have anything further question-wise. Adam, you got anything?
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot of ground. We got some chase lore, deep chase lore thrown in here that I didn't know, at least. I don't know if anybody else.
What do we have?
Well, just the GT Academy, piece, and you know what I mean. At least being in some level of competitive sim racing, and having that explains, I think, to a good degree why you have more, not more of a professional approached, or more of a defined approach to how you approach a track. But it makes sense that those types of things of actually applying strategies and techniques to how you prepare for sessions, because I think for a lot of people just getting into a league, it's just like, okay, well, I guess I just need to make sure I can drive around this track a couple times and not end up on the stream backwards.
Well, I also have to say that my best friend is a professional driver and racing coach, so that does help.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. More.
I was going to ask about your real life racing experience real quick, Chase, and then I do have more. So don't get ready to leave yet.
Oh no, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere.
All right. Real racing? You doing any real racing or on track?
So my brother has built an endurance Miata, and he's been racing that for like 7 years now. And they do Champ Car endurance. He and Brian, my buddy who's a pro driver. I am planning on doing a couple of races with them this year. Just depends on where we are work wise and where the race is going to be, because it's hard to take away an entire weekend with 2 young kids. So if it's somewhere close by and I can just drive out, that's one thing. But if it's like they want to go to Daytona is the first race they want me to do with them, but that requires basically the whole family to up and go, because I don't know if I could leave the girls at home alone. That'd be a lot for the wife. So that's the plan. Other than that, no, I've been in cars on track with Brian, but never driven on track.
All right. Well, you never know, man. You got the natural talent, so it might be a calling if you can find out how to get in one.
Takes money.
Yes, it does. So also, I'm not done with the compliments yet. You guys, I've always, not every race goes the way you wanted, which is kind of where I was going earlier. And of course, this is just league racing. There are no real enemies. I say it, off the chin in jest a little bit, but Was there any memory that sticks out where something happened where it wasn't your fault? That maybe you got into an incident with the lapper, like Brands Hatch, I think it was for you, Chase. And
Yeah, that was me and Pablo. I when he let up, I thought that he was going to tuck him behind. I couldn't really see out of my peripheral on the left because I really wasn't looking back. I was looking forward ahead at the apex because that's a weird apex you have to take. You have to kind of take it late in order to get a good drive out of that corner. And we made contact and spun. I mean, yeah, I was a little bit aggravated the rest of the race, but I get it. It's also on me. It's not all on Pablo. I cut in on him. I was expecting him to do one thing and he didn't. So it's on me at the end of the day. I think the only other incident with lap traffic was Masano, but that just was two small incidents. Nothing really happened. I lost a little bit of ground from Logan, who was behind me at the time, but other than that, I don't think there was anything else during the season that wasn't self-caused.
Yeah, and you take it on the chin, and it was really quick. It's really cool how quickly you guys were able to talk it out and hash it out and let Pablito know that it was okay and it's not the end of the world. And because I'm sure he felt bad. He still says on the chat now that he still feels bad about it. But, just being able to let it go, that's the kind of stuff that you don't get racing officials where sometimes it might be intentional, but obviously in a league race, especially personalities come through a lot more.
Well, I mean, that's also something that needs to be learned too. It's another reason why I wanted to join a league that had dual classes was because in real life, you're going to be passing slower people or you're going to be passed by faster people, and you need to know how to pass people and you need to know how to be passed. So this is a great segue for the real thing.
100%. I've always said when it comes to multi-class, it takes two to tango, not, get caught up in anything and not lose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way you can do it and neither car really loses, any time detrimental to where they're at in the field.
Well, Chase, you may not have made a whole lot of friends, made a whole lot of enemies, but somebody did come out with a little diss track where they may not have been super happy with you. You got a whole diss track coming. I hope everybody's ready. Put on your seatbelt. You're about to go for a ride for about 65 seconds. Here we go.
Beluga. Show you how we do it below the surface. Yo, come on. Chase Finger? More like Chase Cheater. Your girl tells me Chase won the race. I don't believe her. Oh, come on. Yo. Listen. You really think that car's a GT4? Beluga's gonna fill you in on some deep lore. I got the dyno results, I got my sources. You know his car is making 700 horses? That car's a GT3. Chase can't fool me. He really thought he made it out and got off scot-free. Oh. Yo, this dude is fraudulent. He tried to be subtle, like Dash in The Incredibles, but now you hear it from someone who is credible. I can't wait to see the look on people's face when next season Fingers 4 seconds off pace. Yo. Beluga out. Kick him out the league.
Jack, I love you, brother.
Dang.
Wow, he
man.
spotted that one real quick.
That was so good.
Well, we're not going to kick you out of the league.
Standing ovation, Jack. Thank you, brother.
You guys got the beats.
Can I get that on
That was
Spotify?
Man, I thought the worst we were going to see this year was Drake being taken down by Kendrick Lamar, but the hate isn't over. With only a handful of days left in the year, we've received another damaging diss track.
Top of the charts.
I really don't know what any of that means, but it was funny.
Yeah, that was really cool. So shout out, Jack Lucas. You're amazing, man. We had a lot of fun racing with you too, and looks forward to next season. As we all do. Chase, your second half of the season seemed to be when Michael Odell and you were going at it almost week after week. And is there anything that sticks out about your battle with him? You touched on it a little bit earlier, but anything with you and Michael that sticks out?
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule now. I think it could be. He's really good in the wet, especially that BMW in mixed conditions is a force to be reckoned with. But I think it's also just competency with the car because he was in Aston last year or last season, right? Wasn't he? I think he was in the Aston.
Odell, I believe, yes.
Yeah, so for a new car for him, even at the beginning of the season with Barbers being as quick as he was, granted that is a track he knows in real life as well, but yeah, I think just being more confident with the car and learning what the car is capable of, and then you just put that to use on whatever track you're at.
Yeah, sweet. Well, just to wrap it up, man, again, thanks to everybody for joining and listening and asking great questions. Everybody that submitted the comments and stuff, we definitely appreciate it. Ron, you got anything to say in closing?
Yeah, just want to thank Justin, the admins for taking me in. I was it was my first league that I applied to when this past summer, so I was kind of scared because I wasn't know what I was getting into or how the group is gonna be. And I appreciate everyone here is great and so like welcoming. And then it's looking forward to next season and looking forward to more great races.
Well, hey, man, we appreciate having you. We're a league, and we're really built on people choosing to be here. And this goes to you, Chase, and literally everybody, regardless of what series. Don't as long as you're willing to, if you're struggling with something, either ask for help or put the effort in to at least, try to not, make mistakes or repeated mistakes and just get better. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this is just a hobby, just a bunch of group of guys. We all probably couldn't really pick each other out of a lineup, but we have fun in the Discord channel. We have fun. We have fun on track, and that's what it's all about. I mean, this is nothing super serious, right? But we wouldn't be here without you guys, and both of you just been good dudes to have, and I take 10 of each of you, and if that means I'm losing the 10 face fingers, then so be it. But at the end of the day, man, we're here to have fun and build a community of people who just share a passion together.
I agree. Hit the nail on the head.
Amen.
That's beautiful.
Thanks, Adam. It's not often you compliment me.
It's all love, brother.
We're looking forward to next season. The schedule is being created right now, and the GT3, GT4 is definitely going to throw a curveball in. So we're really looking forward to it. Adams, thank you for joining me for that, Adam. The whole season, it's been absolutely awesome. Amazing on the cameras, and definitely coming in with the commentary too has made a big difference. And so we appreciate everybody that's done it, participated along with us, and looking forward to another fun ride in 2025, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe the best one yet.
That's right.
Thanks for everything y'all do, guys. This is great. I'm proud to be here.
We're proud to have you.
Yeah, congratulations, both of you. You definitely earned it this season for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna say bye to our season champions here. I'm gonna send them down here to the other Discord channel. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Hopefully, we have you on again in the future, and good luck racing next season.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy holidays.
Yep, same to you.
So that was Chase and Ron. Great people, great drivers. Glad to have them on. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the oval side of things now, guys. So to wrap up the show. So Truck Series was out in Sonoma for the weekend, out in wine country. That was a pleasant race, pretty good one to watch. I'll let James go and break down the ending, well, basically the entire race. Again, if you guys did not watch the Sonoma truck race or the Cup race out in Indy, I'm going to suggest that you pull up that stream and watch it, because from start to finish, there was a battle for the lead. So, despite who won, I mean, just because the same guy won both races, that doesn't mean it was a snoozer. And I'm sure he'll tell you tonight, both of these races were hard fought for the win. So, James, without further ado, man, take it away.
Yeah, it was incredible. Sonoma Raceway, 41 laps with a competition caution at lap 9, I believe. And so Nicholas Aslan put it on the pole, out qualified you, JT, for, and also Dustin Reinstedel out qualified Justin. So Justin had to come from row 2, and right off the bat, nonstop, it kind of set the tone for the rest of the race. As knowing that there was a competition caution, I think, Justin, you might have just been following for a little while. It looks like you were taking it easy at the beginning.
Yeah, for a little bit. I think I was just easing into the tires, just trying to get them up to temp a little bit, and then a couple laps there I was pushing pretty hard, and it was just not a lot of passing opportunities without kind of just moving somebody, and didn't want to do that, especially with the guys up front. I mean, Nick Aslan is just such a just down. It doesn't matter who you are. He respects everybody on the track, and I knew he wouldn't. If I was in that position, he wouldn't do it to me either. So I was trying to really just there's a lot of times where I was carrying a lot more exit speed through some of the corners, but I was just trying to feel it out that early in the race before the stage.
And getting by Dustin on the first turn, I think before even turn 2, it looked like you made a point to make sure you were in front of Dustin.
No, I was just trying to get that track position. I think leading up to qualifying, like in the practice session, I think me and Nick kind of went back and forth a couple times for the fastest lap. So, still just dipping my toes, and I had a very distinct line at that uphill right-hander. I think technically turn 3. So, when I saw an opportunity there on Dustin, I think I took him on the inside there too, maybe, or around the outside. I don't remember, but just trying to get that track position, early in the race, and letting it play out from there.
And everybody comes in at the comp caution to take tires. A lot of guys came in at the competition caution, but then some guys waited till the lap afterwards. So it ended up being a little resort. But you did not take tires at the comp caution, and Nicholas did, and that's how he got back out in front. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I didn't take tires in the comp caution.
No.
Just because I really felt like, again, just track position was going to be key here tonight. And then I think he got shuffled back a little bit. I think there's some guys maybe as well who didn't, so I'm not sure where he restarted, but I knew he wasn't. I don't think he was right behind me at the comp.
Right. Then after 2 more laps, it was the 3 of you back again. You could throw a blanket over the top 3 for the next 30 laps, however many there were left, 32 laps. After that, it was just pressure, pressure, pressure. It was amazing. Also, Eric Taylor and Ian Silva were nose to tail for the entire 41 laps as well. Well, I'd say 38 laps because Ian took tires at his natural pit stop, in the middle of the race, green flag pit cycles. And I think those tires that Eric did not take, is that the right way to say it? Sorry, I'm not the grammar police, but Ian Silva took tires, Eric didn't, and that cost him with like 3 or 4 to go. Ian Silva finally got around for 4th. But then the top 3 was just lap after lap. And as Ant said, opening up the show, if you haven't seen the broadcast, it was just incredible racing. Is there anything else that comes to your mind about that race, Justin?
Man, it was just tough. I think that Um, I'm not gonna say what I guess I just want to come out and say, but um, it's been awesome just to see the competition and on the road courses and the trucks. I mean, guys have gotten so good, and I'm gonna be candid. I'm probably gonna get smoked every other oval. Like it doesn't matter. So like I take a lot of a lot of pride, I guess, in trying to be, one of the top contenders. Every time there's a road course on the schedule, and it's good. Like I'm really happy the competition's up there, and these guys have just gotten so good over the past seasons on running these road courses. I think it puts on way better of a show. When there's, like you said, there's a three-way battle basically for a lot of the race. So um, it's just been really good. I know a lot of drivers, participation-wise, just want to skip the road courses. Um, to that, I would say, it's not easy. It's a super super challenging thing. Muscle these cars around, have the throttle control, have the braking control, the steering input control. So, um, if anybody ever wants help, there's a lot of guys in here willing to know. And if you can just come out and run some clean laps, I mean, even if you're lap two down, if you're clean, some of these guys might wreck out or something like that. You might just gain a couple positions. So, um, just try and push yourself to run these types of races. They're definitely a challenge, and you're not going to get any better if you don't get out there and try it.
I mean, I think on that point, the road in something like a stock car, I think really is helpful, like especially if you want to be good at things like short track where you do need to actually use brake and be very careful getting back on the throttle while you're, off camber or, figure out how to work those tires when they're just absolutely melted apart, like I was when we ran Brands Hatch. It's really helpful, I think, just going back to your oval discipline to take those learnings back and just learn that same vehicle even more, for situations where that's, turns even in ovals are so unique and across the different types of tracks that, you're going to end up driving them on the road. And then you're like, oh, now I know how to take this big sweeping, what I want to say, gateway, 3 and 4, because I know that this is the way this truck likes to work in corners about that speed.
Yep.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
cool.
I mean, even Dustin said, since he started doing our road series, like, and it shows, like he's gotten way better at, road courses than the stock cars. I mean, I think he would agree that he used to be the guy just trying to go out there and just finish. Like he didn't care how many laps down at the end of the day he was. But I mean, he's gotten so much better. I mean, he was up there fighting, for the lead.
Yeah.
At Sonoma in the trucks.
Yeah, and the more truck drivers that want to come over to the road series, even every now and again when they can make it in, I mean, you're seeing so many of the actual Cup Series drivers going over, and we've seen Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zilich has a lot of experience in the road. We've got Zilich and Van Gisbergen and Scotty Mack and Ben Keating taking a Corvette at Daytona. There's a lot of those guys going and getting into that, especially as that's a place where you can make points and in the real thing, make the playoffs off of winning a road race, so it's a real gamble now.
For sure, and it's only just becoming more and more. I mean, there's so many road courses in the real life series now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, to all you guys, in our truck series for sure. If you're not comfortable or something, just try and put in the time, get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you just got to have the patience. These aren't GT cars and prototypes and such like that, but slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
You got back that braking up about a mile.
The hardest thing I find is coming off of like one of our Tuesday races
Uh-huh.
into a road course. And you'll appreciate this, James, because in your head you're saying, like, even if it's the same track, you're like, oh, I can brake at the 150 marker, and then you're driving the truck or the next gen, Yeah, well, you can just kiss that apex goodbye because you missed it by about 4 miles.
Yeah, you just kissed that whole turn by. That was like Indy in the whenever we had the GT4s there, and then I did a practice session with the Cup car, and I was like, I'm gonna try braking at 200. Nope.
Wait, we're gonna get into more of the brake lockup when we get to the Cup Series, but so just remember this thought when we come back to it.
Oh, for sure.
And if you were in the Cup race, you'll know about what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was just an awesome race. Nick Aslan put on a heck of a show, and he's come a long way in his road courses. And even back to shout outs from the road series was Nick Aslan attributed a lot of his road course prowess to doing it on the road series, racing on the road series.
Yeah, one thing to Nick, sorry to interrupt. Quit selling yourself short on these road courses, dude. You're here. Like, you're doing it. You're no slouch. You're no slouch. So just quit acting like you've never turned right.
Maybe he's trying to be humble or pretend like he's humble, but no, after talking to Nicholas in some of his podium positions after the race, he's definitely a humble dude. He's not going to say how good he is to tell everybody.
I'll say it for him then. I don't care.
You know, another advantage of a low turnout race as well as in the Cup Series is that more opportunities to get top 10 results and good finishes. So good points, you know, maybe focusing on bonus points to be an advantage. So
For sure.
yeah.
But real quick, I got a question for Justin. So I was watching the stream, and I noticed, I would say almost every lap, you gave up a lot of time going down into that final hairpin. Were you just kind of managing your gap or managing your speed going down there, knowing that you can get them on exit, or was it just somewhere where Dustin and Nick were able to close the gap there?
I think it's a little bit. I mean, you get the same thing, and well, I guess it's a little less different on a traditional oval race, but I think on a road course race, it's a little more cat and mouse. You get that, I think, when you know a driver either that you're chasing or is chasing you maybe is tighter on fuel, than you. So, just seeing if you can maybe get them to think that, oh well, I know he's been slow here, so I'm gonna drive it in just that little bit deeper, and then they maybe force an error and lock up and miss the turn. So I think it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game. But at that point, I was just really just trying to manage pace and not make any self-inflicted errors on myself. Just trying to get to that checkered flag and see what happens. Because I mean, Nick was better in some sections than I was. Dustin was better in some sections, but I was just trying to manage that, know where I was stronger, and be willing to give up that little bit maybe of time, in some places, just to ensure either I had a better exit or I had the truck under control or wasn't, blowing through any of the braking zones.
Yeah, I imagine you were also trying to keep the tire heat out as much as you could.
Yeah, I was just trying to go the distance.
Gotcha.
The difference between 0.3 of a second is not losing 0.3 of a second in one timing sector of a road course is a lot different from losing 0.3 of a second a lap on the oval, in one lap on an oval. So the road courses kind of ebb and flow between, but there's almost always a chance to get them back within a lap or two, whatever time you lost. But you guys, all three of you were driving it from the outside looking in. It looked like you guys were on the edge every single corner of every single lap. It was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And that may have been, like I said, the lack of grip on the tires and controlling the slide as you're on power or even under braking, the back end stepping around and keeping it pointed in the direction you want to make that apex off. Anyway, the truck race was incredible. Let's do it again in the next road series. But not much change in the point series, in the overall points. that Ant has thrown up on the scene on the stream. Justin maintains his lead in the points. Robert Sanders holds on to second. Trevor McLaughlin moves up to third. Brandon Cotton, P4, and Justin Thaler are still in the top 5. So early in the season, next race, I believe, is Bristol. Is that right?
No, for
Trucks, I think, is
it's
Kentucky, maybe? Yeah.
Kentucky. Yeah.
Yep.
That's this Friday at Kentucky.
Yep. And then we're off for Christmas. So everybody have a great Kentucky race this Friday. It's going to be the last one. We're going to have a week off, and then we're back to a nice stretch of races. So it ought to be a fun race to get us into Christmas. So we look forward to having as many people out as possible.
Yeah, back on the ovals next week. Kentucky Motor Speedway is a big one. Gonna have a lot of fun. Passing fast, high speeds, tire wear, fuel saving. We're gonna see it all.
Yeah. So moving on from the truck series, congrats there, Justin, for your win out in Sonoma. And if I gathered it correctly, you had a day in between to get your Tuckus out to Indy. So
Yeah. Hungover from all the wine.
from all the wine. So the Cup cars ventured out to the Indy road course. This track is challenging but rewarding once you figure it out. It's a track where you can easily unsettle your car by taking one corner too fast and not being able to slow down for the next one, or turn one being as treacherous as any of the turns in the oval series that we take, trying to launch cars side by side down into turn one. So it was a great race there too. I'll let James go ahead and start into that one.
Yeah, no, all good. Great intro. There was 13 cars racing in the Cup Series, but a pretty big gap in the times. But Justin put it on the pole, a completely different track, completely different car, still a road course. Justin on the pole. Ty Williams in the 81 put it on the outside front row. And I thought for sure we were going to see a missile or torpedo or whatever the slang is for a dive bomb into turn one, but everybody made it through. And I think Ty and Walker were side by side. Even Dustin was in there side by side around probably till all the way till turn 5 before the chicane. So that's how the race started. And Justin looked like he was going to pull off to a big lead. I think he had about 5 or 6 seconds on the field. The battle really was for second before the competition caution that bunched everybody back up. I don't know. Are you reconsidering having competition cautions now, JT?
Well, kind of, because like I was like, wow, I'm
Yeah.
just running a comfortable pace for the first, say, 4 laps, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no point in pushing any further. Like, we're all gonna get stacked back up. Like, preserve what tire I can. There's really no they're all gonna be right behind me in a couple laps. So in my head, it was hard. You want to build that gap, but it's not the best decision. When you know what's coming. So I did kind of just back it down. I think my pace fell off a little bit until that calm caution, just to preserve as much tire, I guess, as I can, and not force a mistake on my own part.
Yeah. Well.
So in a way, yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I know what you mean. Back to the question about competition cautions. I mean, that was, joking a little bit, but that was unfortunate. I felt your pain as they went through that. So that was rough. But then competition caution comes, and well, first of all, what happened to Eric? Eric I don't know, he was in the pit lane when everybody was coming to grid, and I was thinking, well, he doesn't have a penalty. Maybe he's just trying to avoid the crash in turn one. We came back by 2 or 3 more times before he pulled out. I didn't get a chance to follow up with him. I didn't see anything in the chat. You want to tell the story on the Godfather of Midwest Motorsports, or is that top secret? Family.
No, it's no secret. I mean, he said, "Oh, I'll be right back," and I was like, "Well, you have like 2 minutes." You know what I mean? So like, I don't know what he stepped away what he thought maybe it was quick, and I literally gave him until 5 seconds to grid, so I wasn't gonna miss the start. He still wasn't back, and literally as crew chief said, "All right, follow the pace car." Eric's like, "Oh, I missed the start," so like he must have just gotten back. So I'm not sure what made him step away, but it was kind of unfortunate. I didn't want to see him, have to sit in the pits for a while, but unfortunately he missed the start, and I don't think he had the race he was hoping for. After that, I think that was just the start of a unfortunate turn of events for him.
So what I'm hearing is a great Christmas gift for your brother would be a watch.
He's a grown man. I'm not telling him where he's got to be and what time. He's got to figure that out for himself.
All right, he's got to go to Daytona and win his own watch.
I mean, hell, we do it every week. He should know by now, right?
Like, when you got to go, you got to
think
go.
so?
Some things you can't rush.
True.
But yeah, so Walker and Ty were side by side for pretty much the whole first part of the race, and then after the restart, Justin, they stayed a little closer that time. They did get single filed out a little earlier, and I think Brandon Cotton got some good track position, and I'm not sure exactly what pit strategy he pulled. Maybe not taking tires where everybody did. So the field kind of shuffled up a lot. 2 people actually got in front of Walker and Ty in that. I think it was the 64, Brandon Thayer. And then Dustin came in. He didn't come coming to the yellow. He came in on the pace lap and had to come through the whole field again. So he said he wanted to get bonus points for leading a lap. So those bonus points really pay off at the end of the season, Justin? Ant?
I mean, it's a really long season, so is leading the lap 1 or 5, Ant? I don't
1.
remember.
Leading the
Yeah,
lap
so-
is 1, and leading most lap is 2.
Yeah, so leading a lap is just 1 point, but I think with maybe how long this season is, it might
20
very well
points.
come that close. I mean, if you get a lap led at least every week, like Ant said, that's 20 points right there.
I mean, if you somehow happen to lead the most laps, it's 20 times 5. You're looking at 100 and just 100 points. So
Mhm.
it's I mean, it's I'd say it's worth it if you can work your strategy to where it doesn't kill you in the race. Like, you don't lose a ton of positions trying to lead that lap. I think it's worth it to try and get out there and lead at least one.
Good call. Well, good call, Dustin. We'll see if it pays off at the end of the race. But between Brandon Cotton getting a jump out of the pits and as well as Brandon Thayer getting in front of Ty and Walker, that allowed Justin to get out to a big lead again, but it didn't take long, maybe 3 or 4 laps. Brandon Thayer locked up at the end of the Holman straight, which is kind of in the middle of the track, the long straight after the chicane. He locked up there. Those were the 2 biggest passing points at the end of the longest straight, obviously, in the big braking zones. But lockup, again, cost Brandon Thayer a couple of positions, and then also coming into that final little section before pit entrance was another place where you're braking and turning at the same time. It's kind of a tricky thing to do without brake locking up, especially in the Cup cars. Lots of horsepower, big brakes, little skinny tires and a super heavy car. And then the exit of that sector, getting onto the front stretch, going across the yard of bricks, also sets up the long braking zone for the pass into turn one. So I think those are the two key corners of the track where not only you have to be good coming onto the straightaways, but you have to do good as you get on the binders and back it down. And that was basically the tail of the race was tire lockups. Walker McNulty got around Brandon and Ty and Brandon Cotton and was like 6 or 7 seconds back. And Walker put in a charge to catch back up to Justin. I didn't think he could do it, but he did. And before you know it, Justin sees that. I think it was in a Sour Patch Kids paint. Getting
It was
close,
hard to miss.
close every lap. Hard to miss.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he had the pace. I think outright he probably had far better pace than I did. Yeah, I was quick on a qualifying lap for sure. Just didn't really have the confidence going into those deep braking zones not to lock it up. There's a lot you can. I mean, we run fixed setups, but within the fixed setup, you can adjust the size of the front and rear master cylinders on the next gen cars. So
Oh, good tip.
so depending on what size you pick, can play a lot. Either there's more pressure towards the front, rear, you can kind of balance it out, but then you also have the ability, similar to a GT car, to adjust it in car. But if you have, size combination A and you're at say 47% brake bias, it's going to react one way, and if you have combination size B, even though you're still the same brake bias percentage in car, like they're completely different. So I don't know what he was running, Walker was, or if he was just that confident, into the braking zone. But it literally took me probably to the last 15 minutes of my own practicing before the session opened to finally get comfortable on the brakes.
Something I noticed, and James, I don't know if you've seen it in the broadcast, but Walker's front rotors were like cherry red into every corner.
Yeah.
Yours didn't light up at all, from what I seen. It looked like you were probably running a more aggressive rear brake bias. But you could definitely see going into the corners just the bright red glow coming out of that car. And I'm like, man, he is really heating up them brakes. But
yeah, they're in that last stint he had. He was hauling for sure.
Yeah, he was hauling the mail.
Well, that's just it. I don't know if it was the color of your wheels, JT, that you didn't see him, or if I wasn't in the camera that zoomed it in enough as you were going through turn one. I was trying my best to keep both of you guys in the picture at the same time. And when I put it on Justin, it was only Justin's car that I could see. But if I put it on Walker, position of the camera angle let me get both cars in the shot at the same time. So that's why I was looking for it. And so then the second pit stop came at around lap 29, I guess, 21, 13 or 14 laps anyway, 20 to go, something like that. And Justin, when you pitted first and Walker pitted second, and when Walker was coming out of the pits, y'all both of your stops were 6.8 seconds. I think Justin, you had 6.89 and Walker's was a 6.73 or something like that. So it's, less than 0.2 close on the pit stop. But coming out of the pit lane, I mean, you guys were pretty much side by side. Of course, it's a much tighter radius on the exit of turn one coming out of the pits than the turn one if you stay on the curb. So I think Walker had to slow down a little bit, but it looked like you guys were going to be side by side coming out of the pits. And by the time you hit the blend cone, the blue cone, there was still less than half a second between you. And then it was on from there. Walker had you in his sights. And Ty Williams was right behind Walker as well. So Ty Williams was not out of the picture yet and not going anywhere. And from then, the race was on, you would ebb and flow a little bit. The gap would go from half a second to 3/10 and then back to 3/4 of a second. And yeah, I don't know. It was just good racing. I can't really fault anybody. Coming up through lap traffic, there were a couple of oh heck moments, and I just edited myself a little bit there because you know what I'm talking about. Because either one of those coming up on traffic with Walker on your backside moments that stick out to you, Justin?
Yeah, all of them. No fault of anybody's. I think guys were just doing their best to get out of the way, and I think coming into turn 3, if that's technically turn 3 or 4 before the chicane on the backstretch, I was kind of really trying to V that corner off to set up the run through the chicane and maximize speed down that backstretch, and basically right on the rumble strips on the inside. A lap car was kind of like parked right there, and I really didn't see it until I was, my car started rotating. So I was like, well, that's going to really compromise me. And, you have that moment in your head and you're like, well, how am I going to catch up to this guy? Like, he ran me down. Now I got to go on the offensive. And then, I guess there was a spinner right there too before that. I don't know if timeline wise if that happened before or after this incident, but there's a spinner and another guy kind of like just trying to avoid him, and it was a bad. If I was catching lap traffic, it was always at the worst times. Especially coming to that last lap, that one was a nail biter for sure. I don't know if you want to get to that or not.
Yeah, sure, no worries. But I mean, Walker got inside you a couple of times going into that final section before the pit lane entrance section. I think it's turn 10. No, 12.
12, yeah.
And then you were able to get him back. I mean, you guys were crossed over at least twice. And there's a couple times you looked like you were going to outbreak him into turn 1, but Walker was on it. So you had to adjust instead of going to try to pass just that quickly. You had to go in to let him turn in first and then follow. And you got him back in the turn before the chicane. And then he would get you back going into the 90-degree left after the chicane. I mean, it was really good racing. So again, if you want to watch about an hour and 20 minutes of incredible side-by-side cup racing action, Michael Harris joined me for the broadcast, second half of the broadcast, and it was awesome. But and behind the battle for third was on as well. So Justin and Walker pulled away probably 8 or 10 seconds. So we knew that battle was for the lead. But the battle for third, the final step on the podium, which is bragging rights because everybody wants to talk to me. I don't know why after the race is over. And so Brandon Thayer, Dustin Reinstedel, and Ty Williams had a three-way battle. Thayer was in front for a while until he locked up coming into turn 12. And then that was with 3 to go. And then with 2 to go, Dustin Reinstedel and Ty Williams both locked up coming into that same turn 12, which is turning off of the banking onto the little road course section before pit in. And if Dustin Reinstedel didn't lock up and go straight, Ty Williams admitted that he would have run into Dustin on that corner turn in. So it just happened to be that they both locked up, and Ty Williams was able to get under Dustin coming to the flag. So from coming to the white, Brendan Thayer loses third, drops back to fifth. Ty Williams actually locked up and got into the grass as well, and so he had to rejoin and then catch back up to Dustin, which he did, and then Dustin outbroke himself into turn 12. Just incredible, great racing, man.
It was. Oh, go ahead, bud.
I think the funniest part of that broadcast was coming onto the the front stretch when Walker and I were kind of side by side, and Michael Harris says, "Oh, I don't know why he gave him the inside. Maybe just for thrill."
Yeah.
Oh, he had me laughing with
Feeling
that
enough
line.
already. Yeah.
So that race, as we all know, well, all the admins know, I was doing some home improvement and such at the house. So I had the race up on the big screen, and my wife, when she wasn't helping with something with the kitchen sink, she'd be decorating the Christmas tree, and she walks in and she looks at it and she was like, "Is that Justin I hear?" I was like, "No, Justin's racing." She's like, "Who is that voice?" And I was like, that is Michael Harris. He's one of the other drivers. He likes coming in and commentate." She's like, "He sounds exactly like Justin." I'm like, "Nah." I was like, "You'll hear Justin here in a little bit." And then, so it was kind of funny because whenever I think when Justin won the race, you played the "You can never have too much sausage" line.
Oh yeah.
And my wife looked at me. She's like, "What does that even mean?" And I'm like, "You'll have to ask JT." So
Can you
From
turn
what I-
down a good sausage though?
yeah, from what I gathered, I'm pretty sure she did get to ask JT today about it. And the other thing was the winning in Sonoma, drinking the wine, and having the milk and Indy. She didn't understand what that was about either. So
Yeah.
JT got to educate a non-racer today, and in what happens in the racing world, especially what you drink when you win the race.
Yep. So JT got to kiss the bricks after the race and come back and talk to me after the race. But yeah, just incredible that on that last lap you were able to hang on to it, coming to the flag, Justin. And yeah, Walker locked up going into that same turn that we all talked about, turn 12, we're calling it. And that's all it took. Justin said, "See you later."
It was a tough fought battle. Hats off. That was he had me working for it.
Yeah, you
So-
guys came up on a car. That's right, coming into that section, coming to the checkered flag, and he just didn't know where to go. So he's pretty much slowed down to 10 miles an hour on the apex as you guys were finding him. Walker hit the wall on the main straight coming out to the checkered flag. But that's all it took. Congrats, Justin, on the sweep of the weekend.
Well, thank you.
So one observation that we did touch on tonight that I just want to reiterate again, guys. If we haven't noticed, the Sonoma race and IndyCar race, these guys have been competing in not just the Oval Series but also the Road Series. So just it goes to show you don't want to just get comfortable running one thing. I mean, get to the point where you can make time at a track, but don't be afraid to branch out to the Road Series. Road Series guys, don't be afraid to branch out to the Oval Series. Once you pick up those crafts, and you kind of mix mash the two together, get some oval experience and road experience, or vice versa. It just makes you a more well-rounded driver. I'm sure talking to Jason Phillips, if any of you road guys want to know what the Oval Series is like going to a road course, ask Jason. He took the truck out to Sonoma. He didn't get to race, unfortunately, in the race, but a practice session. He took the truck out to Sonoma, and he said it was a whole nother level, which I'm sure once he gets that truck under control and kind of gets a good understanding of his braking points and such, he's going to find that it's super rewarding to be able to wheel one of those, I call them cows, out around the track at a fast rate of speed. The reward's just there because you're on edge. You have to drive that vehicle on edge, whether it's the next gen Cup car or the truck or the Xfinity Series car when we ran that, which was sketchy on the edge. But you got to run these cars on the edge, and whenever you're on the edge, it's a fine line of the tires stepping out or over braking and spinning out. So Moral of the story here: just don't be afraid, guys, to branch out and try other things. Try the road series if you guys want to. Try the oval series road guys if you want to. We're open to league members trying new things, and anything that's going to make our league racing that much better. We're all for it.
Yeah, talking about Friday real quick, just to circle back on your comment about Jason, I was wondering where he would be at. You know, he was signed up and he had a lot of artwork completed, so
Mm-hmm.
I know he was feeling it, and I don't fault him for saying I'm gonna take the night off. But I really wanted to see, you know, where maybe he would have stood. I have complete confidence that he would have probably been up near the front fairly easily.
Yeah,
But
he's almost like bringing in a like an Aussie supercars ringer, right? Like he's
yeah,
it's a, you know, how's he going to handle coming over as the road series ringer here in this series? And I agree, he would absolutely do well. And I think he does run some trucks with some buddies as well sometimes. Am I correct in that? I don't remember. He mentions it sometimes.
Yeah, I think they mostly run super speedways, though. I don't think
Yeah.
they run road
Yep.
courses. They don't have to use the brake.
but Sonoma with all the elevation
Uh-huh.
change and the twist and turn. I mean, there's so many. You know,
It can be a nightmare in that truck.
oh my God, unbelievable. It takes so much discipline in the truck for sure. But I was really curious, you know, just to see where he would stack up. I'm fairly confident in his abilities for sure. But when I saw him change his sign up to not attending, I was a little bummed. But he'll probably be there for walk-ins later in the season, I'm sure.
You
Yeah.
mean where you would stack up for him?
Well,
him.
yeah, I mean he's
Not him to stack up to you.
you know, I'm completely welcome to anybody joining. And when he joined the truck series, we were all joking like, "Oh, you get to kick our ass on Tuesdays. Now you're gonna have to kick our ass on Friday." And he's no slouch, man. I mean, he's doing really good for racing a lot of tracks that he wouldn't in with his other group of guys. You know, we're not racing super speedways every week, so he's proven he's here and he's competitive. And he'll pick it up. You know, as the season goes on, he's just gonna get better and better. So it's really cool to see that transition from a really good road racer into an oval guy, and he'll never, you know, he's like Nick Aslin, just super humble. He'll never kind of even say he's good at something. So
I mean, I think the thing to learn from Jason is it's not even like a lot of people will talk about like positivity and it's just like empty or whatever. I mean, he's just genuinely excited to learn these cars and learn these tracks and figure out how to get good or to figure out what he can do to like remain competitive if he's not going to have the speed. And I think that's such a great way to look at it and not getting frustrated. And just viewing it as something like it's a challenge to overcome and it's fun. Like you're here to have fun, you know, and I think that's a great thing for everybody to remember. You know, it's like even if you're slow, even if you spun, even if you crashed out on lap 3, like it's Friday night fun. That's it.
yeah, for sure. And you know, he never dwells on the things he, you know, maybe doesn't do. He always sees the where can I get better and takes that challenge. I mean, James, you're big Jimmy Johnson 7-time champion fan. I'm sure Jimmy was the same way. Where can I get better? You know, he never got complacent with his performance and his abilities. So Jason's definitely that guy, you know, just always looking at where can I just get that little bit better experience or find that little bit extra speed or my tire management or pit strategies. So um, that's what we're here for. I mean, you said it really well, Adam. I mean, it's here to fun, challenge yourself with a full cast of like-minded characters.
Jason, if you're listening, no tattoo appointments. January 31st. That's the Watkins Glen track. We want to see you out there wheeling that truck. So just make sure you pencil that in your calendar. Watkins Glen, January 31st. James, well, we kind of did a Joker lap there. Do you want to pick up the points here?
Sure. Eric Thaler holds on to the lead. Because there were only X number of drivers, in the race. Eric still comes home with points. Period. So sometimes just showing up will get you points. And so Eric holds on to the lead and the points. And as you can see, Eric 8th in points. 8th on the race at Indy, and still brings home 26 points. So anywhere in the top 10 on the Oval Series with 25, 22, 25 drivers, you're happy with the top 10 most of the time. So Eric missed the first 5 laps, still was able to get P8. So another incentive to come. So he holds on to the lead, but only 9 points now behind JT. And Aaron Holroyd had a good showing as well.
Look at that. He's repping 14 points back, man.
Yeah, 73. Aaron Holroyd. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's actually really good at the road course. He kind of half spun going into the chicane, but finished P7, a lap ahead of P8. So, but not too far behind P7, and it was having a much better race as well. So shout out to Aaron Holroyd.
Except the fact he tried to get me to lose a 0x and tell me to hit the pace car during the calm caution. So
He wants you to be perfect.
he probably thinks I didn't hear that, but I just chuckled and chose not to reply in the session.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, congrats. It's still early in the season. The Cup Series is off to Bristol next week,
That ought to be a fun one.
right before Christmas.
Yeah, 250 laps, I think.
250.
Yeah. If it's anything like our other races have gone, it's going to be a lot of green flag runs, which pitting at Bristol under the green flag is a little treacherous, not going to lie.
And Christmas Eve is the next day, so there's no excuses. Everybody can show up, should be able to show up Sunday night, unless you're working Monday, but early enough.
So excited to pit under green at Bristol, and then a caution comes out. Can't wait.
4 sets of tires. You really got to stretch those things.
That's always my luck. Pit there, get trapped.
All right. So, does anybody else got anything? Is that are we wrapping it for the night with that?
That's all I got, Jack.
No, I just want to congratulate Ronald for his Road Series AM championship, and Chase for his Pro Series Pro Series Road Series championship. So thank you guys. It's been a fun season. I think it's been probably our best yet. I'm gonna miss the GT4 class as a whole for pro and am drivers. I think going away. I think the racing's never been better. I mean, you've called enough of our races, James and Adam. I think it's been really, really good. Looking forward to the start of season 8 for our road series. Our first race will be January 14th. So I'm gonna probably release the schedule here in Discord in the next day or so. So the schedule will be coming out. It's finalized, ready to go, and then maybe give the guys another week. The signups, for your number and manufacturer choice aren't open yet to our internal drivers, just because with the pros moving up, I just wanted to give them ample time, to be able to get some seat time in whatever GT car, GT3 car they want to pick. Part of me didn't want to, just because it shouldn't have been a surprise. Like, that poll went out like halfway through last season, so I feel like the guys probably should have put in some time between then and now. But just want to give them that little bit extra, and then we'll start our signups, and hopefully everybody returns. If you find maybe you're struggling or not liking something, due to your on track tendencies or performance, I mean, just ask. everybody here is willing to help and build everybody up. Our Road Series guys are just awesome. So
Yeah. And if you're enjoying racing the Road Series, tell your friends. Bring your friends in. It's only going to make it more fun for you, better for everybody else. From what I hear from everybody, I would expect most of our drivers to be back. Seems like everybody's having a good time. So, I mean, I don't think there's much more you can say about the league that the drivers themselves aren't saying.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we do get a lot of guys from that word of mouth, which is great. And right now, we have we set out some preliminary signups just to gather some kind of data, especially for the new drivers, to what our average I rating is. So basically, what we do is we build from our internal drivers who are going to return, build that average I rating across the board for the league, and then we will place new drivers depending on if they're under or above that, depending on the class. So right now, I don't have the splits per class, but overall, it looks like we have 38 signups. So really good driver retention. A lot of names on there we're missing still, so a little surprising. Hopefully those drivers, are remember to sign up there. But good driver retention, and hopefully we'll grow a little bit by a little bit and keep this thing going. It's been a passion of ours to have a road series, and yeah, it's for fun, but we still have to have rules. But I feel like we aren't as maybe rule strict as others do. We put a lot of it in the driver's hands to police themselves and control everything. As their own destiny and competitors. So for the most part, though, I really think everybody's been respectful and everybody's willing to help others out as well. And it's just a really, 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 really good group of guys.
Well, awesome. All right. Adam, thanks for coming out here tonight, man, and joining us on the championship review of the podcast.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thanks for having me. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, Adam.
James, Justin, as always, thanks to you guys. All of our listeners, this is a full-length podcast you're getting tonight. Normally we try to shoot for an hour. We didn't want to cut any content out with the having the champions on, as well as recapping the solid cup and truck races we had over the weekend. So you guys are getting the whole thing here tonight. Here in the coming weeks, I want to say we're looking at about 2 weeks out. We'll probably be doing a 1 year of the podcast going since the inaugural podcast. So we'll keep that one under wraps until the night of, and hopefully it's a good one and everybody enjoys it. But we're going to call it tonight's podcast, and we'll catch everybody out here next Monday following the oval races. So everybody enjoy your week. Truck drivers, see you Friday. Cup drivers, see you Sunday. And for anybody watching, remember we're on YouTube now. The Midwest Motorsports iRacing. Make sure you guys go follow it, subscribe to it if you haven't already, so you can catch all these awesome broadcasts that James and Adam and Josh all put the hard work into, so we can rewatch these races. So that's all I got, guys. We'll end it.
Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to stay in your lane.